folks. Welcome to Affiliate Nerd Out. I am your nerderator, Dustin House, spreading that good word about affiliate marketing. You're going to find me here every Thursday at 12:15 Pacific time, so put it on the calendar and join me and my guest. And my guest today, Shoots Humphrey, CEO, president of Link Connector. Thanks for joining me in the Nerdatorium today, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dustin.
Man, it is such a pleasure and an honor to have you here. I know we've not connected a lot throughout the years, and I finally got the courage to come up to you uh, at PI Live this time around, and I have just been admiring your style and your characteristics, and just the way you go about holding yourself at conferences for so many years, and watching from afar and like emulating you in so many ways, and I'm just so happy to have you and happy to have this conversation today.
Thanks, Dustin. I appreciate that. That's awful nice.
Awesome. If you have any questions out there, this is live, so jump in and ask us anything. If you got any questions for me or my guest here today, if you would like to be in the guest seat, go to dustinhouse.com/nerd and drop in so a topic that you want to nerd out about. It could be anything. Our question for the day to our audience: what is your favorite thing to do at a conference? And I'm gonna open it up to you, sir. What is your favorite thing to do, so we can open it up to our audience here as well?
Yeah, so my favorite thing to do at a conference, I always leave some time at the end of each day. I mean, I might pre-schedule it, but I make sure
Okay.
that there's some time at the end of the day where I can just sit down either one-on-one or in a really small group of what I would consider to be thought leaders or wicked smart people. As you know from all your vast experience, our industry is made up of entrepreneurs,
Mm.
and that entrepreneurial, constantly changing environment of our industry. It's just a lot of fun for me to sit down, often with a beer in hand, as you know, a beer in hand at the end of the day, and unwind before you get going and whatever your night routine is going to be, the networking events and stuff like that, and just have a open-ended conversation with no agenda whatsoever, just talking to smart people and seeing where the conversation goes. So some of the things that I've learned most from, or ideas that I brought back from conferences, come from those kinds of conversations. So I look forward to that part of the conference. That's probably my favorite thing to do.
That is a smart move, and I have enjoyed that part of it as well. Like the first drink is going to happen around 4 o'clock, maybe 5 o'clock,
Hmm.
but they start serving booze at Affiliate Summit around 10 a.m. I feel like,
Right.
and you just have to have self control until you like get
That's
through all
right.
of your meetings and then get to that end of the day, and it's just so much better once you wait for that long. And yeah, scheduling it somebody that you're catching up with, or like you really wanted to get more in tuned and intimate with in a relationship basis. I love that sentiment. I would say it kind of follows my style of how I live my life, and my favorite thing to do is to make people smile. So
Hmm.
if I can go to a meeting and meet somebody for the first time, I try not to be funny until I figure out that they have some kind of sense of humor, and then I try to knock a joke in there. And getting somebody to laugh for the first time at something,
Hmm.
that has to be my favorite part. So,
No, that's awesome. Yeah, that's fantastic.
yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
humor is such a great tool. Yeah.
it is my best, and we all use our attributes. So,
Hmm.
um, but without further ado, here, sir, who are you?
Who am I? So, that's a good question. I'm the father of two great kids,
All right.
and I am currently the president and CEO, as you said, of Link Connector. I've been working in this industry for coming up on 25 years. The last 20 plus have been with Link Connector as one of the co-founders. I absolutely, if you haven't figured it out already, adore this industry, adore all the challenges of this industry, and all that it brings to the table. I also like the dynamic nature of our industry. It's constantly evolving, constantly changing, usually for the better, not always. And yeah, I guess that's it. So right now, that's defining most of me. It's
Awesome.
my work.
Love that you're a father first. Love that
Hmm.
sentiment and career that can happen. Family starting off. I just love that. And tell me about. We share a very rare bond that I've seen in this, and this is what I like to call military turned digital marketer, right? And
Hmm.
um, you spent a good chunk of time in your life in the Navy as an officer, and that had to give you some kind of skill set into your career. Like, can you tell us about like what that transition was from going to military into your civilian life?
Yeah. So I could not. My family couldn't afford to go to the college I wanted to go to.
Mm,
So I guess I should answer this. Most people that know me know this about me already. That's in the "Who are you?" question. I'm a big Tar Heel guy, a
ah,
big Tar Heel guy.
all right.
Okay, so I really wanted to go to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill when I was in high school, but we really couldn't afford it. And so my only shot at doing so was a scholarship, academic scholarship. So I ended up, I thought, trading 4 years of basically post college career time for an academic, full ride to Carolina. So that's what I thought I was doing. What I ended up doing, I ended up staying in the Navy for 7 years versus the planned for several reasons. One, my at sea time. So that, at the end of coming up on the end of my 4 years, I
Mhm.
was on two different ships as the navigator, and on the second one, near the time I was eligible to resign my commission and leave the Navy, was right at the end of Desert Storm in '91, and so I didn't, stuck in a 10 by 10 box in the northern Red Sea during Desert Storm. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare for my transition. When I came home, I wanted to get married and start thinking about a family and those kinds of things. And so I took a job up in the DC area at the Bureau of Naval Personnel, did 3 year stint there. And while I was there, I got this is early 90s, but got very, very interested in computers and programming
Okay.
and that kind of stuff. I mean, we used obviously computers on the ship, but not much. And so that kind of led me down the career path when I did finally leave the Navy, doing computer software design and development
Okay.
for a company out of Boston. I still lived in DC, but I was working for a company out of Boston, and so I did that for about 5 years. Learned a tremendous amount about software design and development, and but was really, the internet starting to explode in the mid to the late '90s, and I got
Mhm.
really interested in how the internet would and applications on the internet were going to change, how we think about software and interaction with such, and I just wasn't going to have the opportunity to do that. So late '90s, my wife and I moved back to North Carolina from the DC area, and to start a family. And I just decided to leave that software job and start my own company. And so I started my first company in '99, and with a business partner, Ernie St. Gelais, who a lot of people listening to this will know. So we started our first company, and it was generally a content site related to taxes,
Hmm.
and we learned a lot about SEO and SEM, affiliate marketing, in the early days of the affiliate marketing channel. So we just learned a lot as we built that business. And by early 2000s, leading up, I would say about 2003, 2004, got really interested in um, all the things that I thought could be done differently and
Okay.
potentially improved upon in affiliate marketing. And so built what is now Link Connector as kind of a in-house solution for our existing business. And as I was talking to people about it in the first year of building it, a lot of people were interested in using our software just as a different way of handling affiliate marketing. So that's kind of how Link Connector was born. I know that's a way far off from how did I get from the military to your question of how I got from military to digital marketing, but what I believed at the time when I was a high school student trading 4 years, what I thought would be 4 years of my life, I thought it's low cost. It's only 4 years. Who cares?
Yeah.
I don't care that I'll never use anything that I need in the Navy and the business world. And that was my perception is that, just 4 year chunk and then I'll move on
Mhm.
and do what I want to do for a living. And in fact, I think about and I'm sure you do as well. I think about everything that I learned in the Navy almost every day of my career, since I've left the Navy. So there are lots of lessons that I learned, lots of ways to interact with people, the right way to do things, wrong way to do things. There's so much that just resonates from my time in the service, even time in the Northern Red Sea during Desert Storm that I would never have thought as a young teenager that that was going to be possible. So.
That's
Oh,
yeah, I mean, it's ingrained in us at this point. Once you go through the service, more than anything, I feel like it's the leadership skills that stand out above everything, right? Like,
right, right,
once you're leading
absolutely.
a crew of individuals in some kind of capacity, you can that transitions really well. That's why people love hiring military folks into their companies because of the leadership capabilities and the discipline to stick with it. And um, I had assumed that was like the biggest help of your career and like getting you to that level.
Yeah, not being rattled by the fact that 20 urgent things are going on at the same time
Mm,
too, right? Being able to handle multiple things. I mean, we all know multitasking has its limits and you need to focus on, the most important things, but certainly not being rattled by all the external pressures as much. Being trained to handle those kinds of things certainly helps, I think, as well too.
awesome. All right, Stephen
Hey,
Robinson out
Steve.
there saying,
Hey,
"What's up?"
Steven.
Hey,
Yeah.
and you're welcome. No problem. Uh,
Hmm.
happy to do it. Stephen, what's your favorite part of going to a conference? Put it in that chat there. All right, let's talk more on Link Connector here. Like you has this ever been rebranded? Is this like the original name and it's lasted 20 years? That's very rare in this industry.
Isn't it though? Yeah, yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but certainly it's the original name. We have not rebranded. The reasons we launched the network and how we thought we could affect positive change on the industry have kind of stuck with us since day one. And since then, on a lot of our philosophical beliefs and things, the industry has moved towards where, I think we properly shot ahead of the birds. So it's still working for us. It's still resonating with our clients and those kinds of things. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And,
yeah, yeah. It's
tell the audience a little bit more about what you guys do and who you're serving out there.
yeah. So we're a traditional affiliate marketing network. Think what Brian created at ShareSale or what Awin's doing. CJ or Rakuten. So less of a software of a service, like
Mhm.
and more of a traditional, hosting a group of both, whether you call them merchants or advertisers, or whether you call them affiliates or publishers, but you basically are a marketplace to learn about opportunities for an affiliate or publisher to promote an advertiser or merchant, and then the network provides both that impetus for introduction, which is a small part of it, but an important part of it,
Mhm.
helping you find those relationships. but also provides, all the tracking and the technologies that both sides of the coin will use to optimize the relationship and figure out from an advertiser standpoint, how to represent their program goals in the forms of things like attribution and compliance and those kinds of things. So
Right.
there's a highly technical aspect to our job, but there's also the relationship building and the goal in any relationship is to find out as quickly as possible, is it work for all parties involved, which
Mhm.
is kind of a requirement for sustainability.
Awesome. It looks like you've got some fans out here. Jake Fuller's in the house
Hey, Jake.
saying, "Great seeing you both here. Love our friends over at Lead Connector and learning from all of you on the webinars. Outstanding. Thanks for joining us, Jake." And Steven says, "Networking with my old peeps I've known for years and meeting new people, learning the latest trends and ways to drive more rev." Steven, that's way too many favorite things. Like, what are you doing here? Love the passion. Just joking with you, Steven. Thanks for joining in, man. Um, all right, and I want to get to the question of the day, and we're going to be talking about conferences. I've loved watching you through the years interact with the folks out there, but more importantly, I think you're one of the most impressive network marketers that I've ever seen in my life. And I want to know, what is network marketing to you?
So for me, it's the relationship part of my job, right?
Mhm.
So it's understanding both my customers, my competitors, my um, those thought leaders in the industry that I might have interacted with years ago or might have the opportunity to interact with in the future. Just keeping my pulse on, from my perspective, on what everybody's needs are and those kinds of things. So it's really the relationship side. When I'm sitting at my desk back at home, not to say that the relationship side is ignored. There's the strong analytical component to my job, which is building the software to our customers' needs and making our employees enabled as much as possible to be the best that they can be to serve their. So there's a different aspect to my job. So that's one of the things I love about getting on the road and going to these conferences, which is probably why you see me with a smile on my face most of the time at these places is I get to spend that time focusing just on the really, really, to me, fun part of my job,
Yeah.
which is developing and keeping up with relationships in this industry. Because, like I said, there's so many smart people in our industry, and I can learn so much from my conversations with them and be a better person and better at my job with these interactions. So I really look forward to them and spend a lot of time prepping for them, and then so that it makes more out of the execution phase.
Ooh.
So I think it's important for people to understand, as an example, and one of the things I think our team does a really good job at, not necessarily me, just our team, is who's going to be at the conference, whether it's a customer, whether it's a current customer or prospective customer, who's going to be there, but also who are the thought leaders that are going to be there that you haven't seen in a while, and those kinds of things. So that preparation and understanding both maybe what you might be able to successfully schedule time ahead of time, whether it's that drink in the bar or a meeting at a meetup table or something like that, or whether it's just shooting an email in the Slack channel, pinging somebody in the Slack channel on the PMA Slack channel or something.
Yeah.
Hey, I see you're going to be at the conference. I'm look forward to catching up with you. Hopefully, we can grab some time, even if it's not a formal meeting. Uh, you know, Kind of acknowledging that we're going to both be in the same orbit for 2 to 4 days, and would love to spend some time with you. So I
Yeah.
think that's a big part of it.
Love it, love it. And you brought up preparation at a conference. And we'll get into goals a little bit more, but like I want to jump into that conference preparation that is something I hold near and dear to my heart because,
Hmm.
and it must have been a little bit harder back in the day, like before the apps were
Pre-conference
here.
apps. Yeah,
Yeah,
pre-conference apps it was, yes.
yeah, and the pre-conference apps, like I loved PI Live. They made everything easy, and they had my schedule
Hmm.
on my phone and ready to go. I really
Right.
enjoyed it. But like, what are some of your goals starting off before the conference starts to get these meetings in line?
Yeah, so my goals are different than some of my teammates that I might be there. So,
Yeah.
as an example, I know Tara. Her goals are to meet with the customers that have reached
Okay.
out to her that want to meet with her, but probably more on the prospective merchant or affiliate side, is what she's going after. We have our directors of our affiliate relations team or our
Mhm.
merchant relations teams. They and their teams, their goals would be a little bit different. Their goals tend to be more with meeting with the customers that are going to be there and
Okay.
setting up meeting amongst one or more customers that might be working together to give them time to just kind of for 30 minutes, replacing the phone call that might be happening that month otherwise in person to spend time developing those relationships and trying to enable those relationships, bringing a lot of data to those meetings and to talk through and stuff like that. I'm the lucky one. I get to go with the ability to pop into any of those meetings that I'm either asked to attend or I desire to attend, and then have my outside agenda of keeping up with industry thought leaders and
Mhm.
spending time with them and popping around and one of the things I always try to do is make sure that I have I'm not fully booked
Mm.
because I can always make use of that time at the
Okay.
conference. And if I'm fully booked, then you run out of the ability to situationally adapt to an opportunity. Hey, I ran into so and so, and I really think you guys should meet. Do you have any time on your schedule? If you don't, then that you can't take advantage of that kind of you know spontaneity
Yeah.
that might occur. And the one of my, I would say, conference tips is I try to use blank time that I have there if I have a hole to start some of my follow-up tasks early,
Oh,
having my
okay.
computer and sitting down and instead of getting back to them the week after you return, you promised three things to them, you start getting that going right away. And I think people really appreciate and feel important when it's important enough for you while you're at the conference just
Yeah.
to start doing those things for them. So
That's an
so
interesting
you can
tip.
you can always fill in your holes if you've left open time and don't
Yeah.
have anything to do. Um, so
Man, so many things to unravel there, like, and those aren't the things that, my necessarily my thoughts that go through my head. So first off, I wanna get into, like, the conference follow-up that you just mentioned. I've been trained, my old mentor, David Vogelpool, always told me, like, however long the conference is, wait in that many days to until you follow up because you wanna give everybody the time to catch up on their email.
absolutely 100%. You don't want to get lost at the bottom of the
Yes.
thread. 100%.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I think that's a good strategy, but your strategy also works because if I find something that I wasn't like, I didn't have planned out in my calendar, and I have this, like, random conversation, it's a good one, I wanna get into their LinkedIn and send them a message immediately. I like your strategy as well there.
Right, right. And I think you're probably guilty of this just like all of us are. I think most people are guilty of they're so busy at the conference, they're just making sure there aren't any fires. They're
Mm,
constantly on their device checking emails or posts or app messages through the app through the day when they have 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. And so I think they're certainly not going to react to that message that you might have sent at the conference, but they're going to see that you took the time to,
yes.
to follow up right away, and that I think when you get that opportunity to do that, the point was not so much to make sure you do all of that right away. The point was you can always find something to do if you leave open time and it doesn't get filled naturally.
Yeah.
You're not going to be wasting time. So
No,
I
not at
do
all.
try to stay away from work when
Yeah.
I'm at a conference, unless there's a fire, just because take full advantage of the time you're there and surrounded by so many smart people.
I totally agree, and getting that FaceTime and, making people
Mhm.
smile, shaking hands, kissing babies, all that
Right.
business is what, is gonna make you get responses. It's gonna improve your response rate when you do actually reach out to those
Right.
folks, and, uh
Agreed.
yeah,
Agreed.
and also you mentioned the portion about, like, not or leaving a little bit on your schedule for some time that of randomness, and that's something I've never done before, and it makes total sense for me to, like, start using that because I have been pounding meeting after meeting after meeting
Mm.
into my I wanna get the fullest out of this thing. I
Mhm.
set a times to go watch sessions of friends and people that I really wanna learn from, but I don't take the time for blankness, and I love that strategy. I'm going to employ that, like, at my next conference.
Yeah, yeah. It is tempting. You know, you can always find a session you want to attend. You can always find somebody you want to sit down and meet with. So it is not an easy thing to do, but it's something that I'm lucky enough that I get to do.
Hmm, okay. Um, Speaking of goals, like, one of mine is, like, this kind of baseline where at every conference that I go to, I wanna make 1 really good friend, and I wanna make 10 new acquaintances, and that is
Nice.
my ultimate goal, essentially, is taking one of those old acquaintances and turning them into a big new best friend, essentially, that I'm gonna be super excited to see at the next conference. Do you go about this in the same kind of fashion? Maybe it's not as rigid as that, but do you have that mind frame as well?
100% have the mind frame. I
Okay.
don't have specific, quantifiable goals for that, but I do have, kind of that third, and third. So,
Oh, okay.
I definitely about a third of my time, you know, again, it's not a goal as much as I just kind of think that about a third of my time I want to spend with, our current customers, making sure, with my staff if they're meeting with them, but making sure that they're getting everything that they need and there's not things we can do to improve. Getting to know the customers and all about their families and their interests and all those kinds of things. That's important to me. And then I'll generally strive to support our sales team, which are in their time that they're talking to prospective customers, to see if I can add any value to those meetings, but also to get a feel directly of the kinds of questions that are being asked of us, the kind of
Hmm,
challenges that those prospective customers might be facing in their environment, so that I can better support my sales team
okay.
and thinking about what we might need to be doing differently, either technically or philosophically or operationally or something like that. And then that other third is my fun time when
Yeah.
I'm going around and filling that up with having just a kind of an ad hoc conversation. Again, it could be on the schedule, or it could be, hey, I got an hour. Do you have an hour to go sit down and have a beer and just talk? And that's certainly a non-structured time
Hmm.
completely. I think structure would ruin it. It's my chance to
Ah,
learn more, you know like you and I started out this conversation today before you went live about our families and get to know each other. I think
yep.
that's important. It's important to know people and what drives them and what their motivations, what excites them, and all of that kind of stuff, that those connection points. So I really enjoy that aspect of my time at a conference. So from that standpoint, that third of the time, not that I'm not interested in those things in the other meetings, it's just generally they're so time constrained and you have agenda items and stuff like that. They're easier to accomplish with either that open, free, spontaneous meeting time or the planned, hey, let's just go off and catch up kind of time.
Yeah, great call.
But I
Love it.
love meeting new friends and all those kinds of things. And I think, you know, um, the different networking opportunities generally at night, whether it's your own created one where you're hosting a dinner for folks, or whether it's a rooftop bar, or dare I say it, even like an affiliate ball kind of event. Those can provide opportunities for that space, that third of a time, those kinds of things. So harder to get to know somebody at affiliate ball than it is on a rooftop bar, or
Yeah.
at a semi-intimate dinner setting, but still there's a lot of opportunity to use that time less for any kind of goals or agenda as it relates to working with that person, and more just to get to know them so that
Yeah.
you can, you know
Uh, you bring up like the fist pumping like portion of affiliate summits, which I really can't do. Like,
I me
I,
either. I'll,
I
I'll give it 15 to 20 minutes. That's
yeah,
it.
I've tried. I've tried my best to
Yeah,
go in there,
yeah,
but I just do not like yelling at somebody that's standing right next to me, and
agreed.
um,
Or
I,
waiting
I
30 minutes for a drink at
oh,
the
and
four
paying an
deep or something.
ungodly amount for them. Like,
Yeah,
we're used to
exactly.
free alcohol at the conference, like,
Exactly.
but, one of my favorite people in this industry is Paresh, and
Oh,
he
he's
makes he
fantastic.
makes it work. Like,
And I will say he does make it work, and that his event at PLI was fantastic,
yes,
and early in the show as well. I think Paresh takes a different approach, which is why it's been so successful for him. He treats that time as fun customer appreciation
yeah,
time, and you don't have to be a customer. Brian Littleton used to do the same thing.
really. Okay.
It was really about, I really appreciate, you as my customers or industry friends. I mean, Brian used to invite me to, all of his share sale parties, and I'd walk in and everybody's like, you're the evil incarnate, you're the competitor, and all this kind of stuff. And Brian was just, Brian and I love to sit down and have those great conversations. And he's like, come have a beer, he's such a great guy. But Perez similarly. So yes, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Done properly, they can be very valuable.
Oh, absolutely. I really admire the way Paresh goes, and it's called Paresh Connect because he
Yep.
literally walks around the entire place and like takes somebody by the hand and introduces them to somebody on the other side of the room and like, hey, you guys talk, and he's on to the next one. It's an amazing scene
It
to
it
watch
re-
him
and
interacting.
and even more impressive is seeing him on the show floor at 8 o'clock the next morning,
Oh my God,
just
yeah.
bright eyed and bushy tailed, ready to work.
Yeah.
you know,
He's
ready to work.
unstoppable force,
He
like just
is. He
absolute
is.
beast out there. So,
Yeah.
so true. All
Yeah.
right, I'm gonna take some time to pay the bills here today, and I want to talk about one of our sponsors, and this is Markable.ai. This is a really incredible tool for influencers. This is a creator workflow streamline platform that creators can use to automate their affiliate monetization process and the viral product selections for things like smart deep links, affiliate tracking ID management, AI content generation, and boost and spread the affiliate links wherever you are with AI bio link technology and DMing technology. This is an incredible tool. They have seen folks in the influencer realm go from not knowing anything about affiliate marketing into being a pro very quickly, earning 500% increases in what they're doing. They're fully synced with Amazon, Target, Walmart, and other creator storefronts. So go check them out today if you are a creator. And even if you're an affiliate manager, go check them out because it is a super cool tool to suggest to your partners out there. And go to dustinhouse.com/markable and check them out. All right. And getting back into it, let's talk a little bit more about your networking. Like, it has taken me years to polish the skill set that I've had, and I'm sure it has been the same for you. But like, how did you get into this state of, um, you know, uh, I'll go back a step. I'm not for everybody. I know that.
Mm,
Like, my sense of humor can be dry and sarcastic, and
which is the best kind, by the way.
some
Let's
people
just be
just aren't gonna
clear.
get it.
Yeah, right.
Awesome. Some people just aren't going to get it, and, they're not gonna like me at first, but give me some time and I'll win them over, I like
Right,
to say, but, like,
right.
how have you, like, polished your skills through the years? Or is there anything that you've done that is like, a a light bulb that turned on for you to help you get to this point?
Um, I'm not sure there was a light bulb that went on. There was a shift way back when I would say 10 plus years ago where I went from trying to stay a little bit farther behind the scenes to fully interacting and engaging.
Mhm.
um, that has little to do with my personality. I mean, I grew up, in addition to serving in the military, I grew up a military brat. So my dad was
Oh,
in the
okay.
Navy for 26 years. And so, growing up, we moved every 2 years. So I don't know if I was born an extrovert, but by the time I was done with high school, I was an extrovert.
Yeah.
As anybody that knows me knows, I'm loud and you can hear me coming. So, kind of that no fear mentality. But I hear what you're saying. And I'm sure there are plenty of people out there that think I'm loud and obnoxious, but I don't let that bother me. The same as you probably don't let it bother you if they don't get your sense of humor. You'll win them over eventually. So, I just am who I am. And I find, just like you would in a job interview or on a first date, with somebody or anything, if you are who you are from the beginning, then you're going to find those matches quicker.
Mm.
You're going to find the people that appreciate that or like that or all of that kind of stuff, and there's going to be plenty that don't. But at least you're going to find the people you enjoy being with long term, and you're not going to invest a lot of time and effort pretending you're someone you're not, kind of thing. I just I, I, I'm very blessed. I have plenty of really close friends in my life and have all my life. And while I don't need any more friends in my life, I'll take as many more as I can get. And that includes, friends within the industry that I enjoy having conversations with them, learning from, and hopefully I can add a fraction of the value to the conversation. So no fear, I guess.
No fear. I love that sentiment. Let's go. Love it. And like in that same kind of realm, I often consider myself a relationship focused
Hmm.
affiliate manager or like networker. But I have friends that are very analytical and do things that I just don't think about. I don't have that analytical mind. Like I feel like you might be in that same bucket, but you still have the you can do it if you need to kind of thing, right? But do you see this in the industry as like a common trend for the folks in this industry?
I 100% see it in our industry, and it's actually a very complicated industry. And one of the challenges in our industry is I think most people, are one or the other, or tend to be dominant in one or the other, and it's not easy to switch back and forth between the two. And
Mm,
a skill set in both is pretty much required to
mm,
to to do to do well in this industry, I think,
for sure.
or at least to advance and put your best foot forward. So I am lucky. I grew up good at math, logic, all those kinds of things. As I said, I started my career doing software development and design, so I have plenty of analytical abilities. I
Mhm.
got a master's degree in business, and was attracted to the accounting and the financial accounting side more than the marketing side back then. So I love the analytics. I love figuring out the puzzle and figuring out how to go from 1% conversion rate optimized to 3% conversion rate. I can spend all day in Excel spreadsheets doing that kind of stuff. So I really get a lot of personal joy out of that. At the
Okay.
same time, as you've said and observed, I get a lot of personal joy and professional achievement, out of the relationship side too. So I do think we are an industry that requires both sides, and I think I think if you're weaker in one skill set than the other, I think it will behoove you in this industry to do whatever you can to work on, the one you're weaker in. We try to the great extent as possible to challenge both
Mhm.
sides of the brain.
That's a good idea. I'm not gonna do it, but, what what I am gonna do is hire people that fill the holes in my
Oh,
bucket, right?
oh,
And
100%.
and I think this is a
Yeah.
good strategy, and,
Mhm.
every my best partners in crime at any company that I've ever worked with are great on the analytical side and let me do my thing and focus on building the relationships and recruiting affiliates, but, uh, how do you find the whole hire for the holes in your bucket at your company? I mean, Tara is such an incredible asset for what you guys do over there, uh, and she must fill a lot of these holes that you might have.
Yeah. So I definitely didn't mean to imply that I didn't have any holes in my skill set, because it's obvious that I don't have Tara's skill set. So for sure. So in building the company, I think it's important. I generally want an employee that's not necessarily, you're not going to hire somebody necessarily that's more knowledgeable about you in an area, but I always shoot to find employees that are smarter than me. And as you know from working with Tara, that was apparent there when she started working with us 20 years ago.
Wow.
So smarter than me is important. But the other thing that's important is, I need, so as part of, over the years, the interview process, when we target employees to look for those holes to fill, it's important to find somebody who isn't afraid to speak up. Okay. So isn't afraid to say, I don't think what you just said is the best way to do it, or I think I have a better idea, or those kinds of things. So in addition to being smarter than you, they have to be willing to, you know, say out loud something that may make them seem stupid, because it shouldn't make you feel stupid, but some people end up being made to feel that way. So say anything out loud and bring to the table. So what you will find in Link Connector is a bunch of employees that are very, very um, encouraged to, bring ideas forth and have open discussions, and no idea is a bad idea, and let's all work together to do this. So, but yes, lots of holes filled by employees. Yeah,
Okay. Awesome.
my organizational skills suck. I mean, they
Talk.
really are bad. They are really, really bad.
Well,
Every
that's
single employee in the
yeah.
company, even the one that I might have hired last month, has better organizational skills than I.
Well, to each their own. You've got your own skill
Mhm.
set, and uh, as we wind down here, I really appreciate your time today. How do the folks out there connect with you, sir?
They can reach out through me through my LinkedIn profile. My email address is, if you know my name, is easy to remember. It's just choots.humphreys at linkconnector.com. Um, yeah, yeah.
Easy game.
And a lot of people on this call have my cell phone, so that's always a possibility too.
Okay, awesome. Toots, always a pleasure to hang out and talk to you.
You too,
And thank
Dustin.
you so much for spreading the good word here today. And for those out there who are affiliate managers, keep on recruiting, and we'll see you out there next time. Appreciate
Yeah,
you. All right,
yeah.
take care, Toots.